So this is the first, I think, of 3 videos of how to chase symbols down. So these guys here, these symbols down using the ArcGIS Maps SDK for JavaScript. What we're looking at here is ArcGIS Online Map Viewer and that. But the idea is that I want those symbols, right, that you see in this legend. And this legend is probably based on the objects that are in the API. There's a legend widget and a legend widget view model. So it would be, yeah, legend view model. And that's in this first technique that's how I found these and that. So we'll take a look at some code in that. So some of the objects, because I'm going to be tied into the legend view model, I need a view here. And if I need a view, then I need a map in that. And the age-old question, when is something ready for me to talk to? And I'm using reactive utils to watch the view updating. There's lots of different techniques. Maybe just .when on the view would have worked too. And that I have a chip group with a bunch of chips in it. And so one thing is besides getting the images into the chips, and that's what I want. I have these chips that are part of the calcite design system, and I want the graphic in the chip to represent, you know, almost the same color, I guess, as the map. And I said, well, why don't I just go to the map view legend and grab them there, because it's able to grab them, so I'll just grab them from the same place. That was the idea. And that the chip group is over here in HTML. In that, so simple chip group, bunch of children elements for each chip, and these go 1, 2, 3 to match basically the age classes in here, 1, 2, 3, and that. And so, in this sample, how did I find them in that? So this is a little bit of boilerplate, but hey, you need a map, right? Got to put that map in a view, right? And then you got to hook a legend view model to your view. Now I'm not actually using the legend widget in this case. I'm just using the fact I'm using the the MVVM model and said, hey, I just need the data part, because instead of doing a legend widget, I want that same information, but I want to put it in the chips and that sort of thing. And so that's another way you can leverage that MVVM pattern. In that, I just want the legend view model has the things that I believe I need. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I had a lot of beginner's luck on this one, if I'm honest, and so I didn't actually notice some stuff happening. One, I just have one layer in my map, and it's always on, regardless of scale. What I found out in future videos that you'll see is that the layers in the legend view model, and also what would appear if you use the legend widget from the API, very sensitive to scale dependency, so it fluctuates. So there's no guarantee that the layer you're interested in is going to be there. Sometimes, depending on the scale, it could go missing. So this is actually fraught with danger, what I'm doing here, and precarious in that. What I do in this next section here is I wait for the view to tell me that it's done updating, and then I figure, okay, feels like you sort it yourself out, maybe it's safe to go talk to you. And by talk to you means go to your legend view model and grab, I guess, the active layer info. So there would be a layer info for every layer that's being displayed in, I guess, or part of the legend view model. It may be displayed if we use the legend widget, and that. And what I'm after is the name and the HTML and that. And so this is like me debugging. And once I saw, hey, what's coming across, I said, hey, I can throw that into the div. And that's what I'm doing down in here, right? So for every little item you find for a particular layer in the legend view model, grab that and stuff that into one of my chips. So let's take a look first. And we'll get this up and running. Should pop on the screen any second now, or not, and that usually a little faster. And away we go. There we go. Now nothing's come in yet because the map's coming in. Boom, map's ready. Update the chips. So what I wanted is in these chips as you were selecting things, right? And this selection is all built into the calcite design system, so it's not something I've added. All I've added is I want this color on these age classes to be shown up in this chip. So visually, they have the name age class 1. They also have the color, and that so that they can feel like, hey, I'm clicking on the right chip kind of concept. Now, there's stuff like I could go hunt down the colors and that. I said, but my thing was, hey, the legend widget and the legend view model seem to have figured out how to get these colors. I'll just talk to them and pull what they have in that. But let's go inspect, because I have some console stuff happening, just so you know. And if we look at what is coming across for each chip in terms of symbology, if we take a look, it's SVG in that, scalable vector graphics in that. And like I said, so I noticed that debugging, and I said I'm just going to throw that into the div and see what happens, right? And they showed up. So beginner's luck in that. Because like I said, lots of different ways of doing symbology. So, but once I saw SVG, I said, the browser can display that pretty easy. So I'll just put it in a div and see what happens. And the div is linked to the image slot on the chip, and it showed up. We can see that it's kind of cut off. There's like chips have this circle, right? So it's kind of cutting off that shape that we might see on the, if I get back to the map here. So it's this symbol kind of with a circle mask on it and that. And so that, but I said, okay, getting there, close to what I want and that. And so, and another way besides the console, you can try to go to elements, go in here, get into the chip group, get into a chip, right? And then start going through, I guess, the image slot, expand that, and then find out, okay, there's, what went into that div was the scalable vector graphics representing that symbol. But SVG is only one way to do symbols, and I got lucky on this one in that, but there's a lot of stuff going on. But this is one technique that if you're using scalable vector graphics for symbology in your web map, it's pretty easy just to grab that. And I didn't have to do any fancy promises and that. The SVG is kind of like ready to go. Like if I just grab that, the browser knows how to render it. And so I can lean into, hey, HTML5, SVG symbology, browser can handle it and use that a variety of different ways. But this was one way I hunted down the symbology and that. And so we'll wrap this video up here.